Welcome back to this episode in the garage. Hold on just a second. Let me get me a sip of liquid motivation. I'm trying out a new microphone, so y'all let me know in the comments if you like it more, like it less. But we're gonna get started on this little heartbeat. We got to do some cleaning, we got to do some measuring, and so I'll get you set up and we'll start disassembling this thing and seeing what kind of shape we're in. Who knows? Welcome this episode in the garage.
What will help me in? I know you want me. Well, I want you to. What will you do? Love child, what will you do? Don't be shy, sugar. Look me in the eye, girl. What's your pleasure? Sleep like a leather. Come, baby, please, 'cause I'm down on my...
Got this little feller flipped over. The first thing we need to do is pull this windage tray off. We know that this was a running motor when it was pulled, but what we don't know is how much it was abused, how often the oil was changed. We don't know any of that stuff. So before we go through the trouble of putting this whole thing together, putting it in the car and all that noise, let's at least make sure it stands some sort of chance of living for a little while anyway. I've been putting this off for a while. I had other things related to the car that I could be doing, but now we're in limbo, so let's get this knocked out. Oh, I got one more. So really what I want to do here, I want to get the rods and pistons out of it. I want to look at the rings. I want to look at the bearings, and I want to look at the cylinders and check them for roundness. And we're gonna go ahead and check in play on the crankshaft. Excuse me while I get another drink of liquid Go Get 'em. let's get our first look at the bearings on this thing. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to tell you right now. Let me get a rag. Man, that looks fantastic. Boy, I hope the rest of them look that good. I do. All right, let's get this piston out of here. That bearing looks just as good, if it'll focus. Right there. Smooth as silk, nothing you can catch your fingers on. That looks great. As far as the crank goes, looks fantastic. I am a happy camper so far. Of course, we got 7 more to go. This wrist pin moves free. There's no any type of play. The skirts look good. The rings, as expected, are a little grimy. But I've got some diesel fuel over there in a bucket. So I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up. And we'll do some more measuring and then we'll slap this one back in. When you're cleaning these things up, see those little dimples right there? Those are oil drain back off of your oil rings. You want to make sure that you clean those things out. That's how it gets rid of the oil it traps inside this to keep from trapping and burning oil. All the new motors, as far as I'm aware of, all the new motors have this. And when I say new, I'm thinking, you know, mid 90s up. And even on the old engines, a lot of engine builders will go back and drill those holes in it. That way you're not trapping oil in that oil ring and then burning it in your combustion chamber and all the garbage that comes along with that. So far we got these rings rotating really good. So we've got those grooves cleaned out pretty well. So I'm gonna go in here with maybe something like that. See if we can clean these things out. And I want to go all the way till I feel myself go through there and touch that oil ring. There we go. All the way through. These things get blocked by carbon and the junk garbage fuel we run today. That is completely blocked. Let me take a closer look at that. There we go. All right, I'll finish getting these things, or this one, cleaned up, and we'll move on to the next step. Let's do some measuring. I'm gonna measure this way and this way. We're gonna check for out around. We'll go up here where we get the most piston rock. Oh, about like that. All right, what do we have here? Let's make sure we're zeroed out first. All right, what that say right there? Come on, hands, work with me. What that say? Oh, about 3,781.5. Alright, let's turn this straight up and down. What's this and say right here? What's that say? That say what? 3,782.5. Pretty gall dang close. All right, so I've got you set up, and we're going to check the crankshaft end play on this thing. I would like to see 4 or 5 thousandths. Really, I think the book is 3 to 7. I think I'm actually expecting a little loose, seeing how this engine has got some miles on it. But I'll get you set up and we'll take a look at how much we got. Now y'all watch that little needle and tell me what it say. What that says right there. About 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Let's check it one more again. Yeah, that's real close to 5. I am quite happy with that. Man, I got so much water coming out of my nose. If it wasn't so much, I'd think it's my brains. I'm starting to think I'm built backwards. My feet smell, my nose runs. Go figure. All right, I've got you back upside down. And we're gonna reintroduce the hash marks back into the cylinder. They're not all gone, but we're gonna put better ones in there. Wipe this thing down with some diesel oil, diesel fuel rather. Something like Yo. That art to do it. That's the reason I've got it upside down. I don't want that dust falling on my crank. Cleanliness is next to godliness. It's what I always say. All right, a couple things to talk about as we prepare to put this honking slug back in this thing. So your rod bolts on the Gen 3 have two different series, meaning they have an update. And one of the ways that you can tell which series you have, a first series or second series, is if you'll look at the end of that rod bolt. Hopefully you can see that. So if you'll look right at the end of that probe, you will see a little dot. All right. One dot means first series. If you have a second dot, it'll be directly across from it, right there. Now the reason that's important is they have different torque specs. So first series, torques to 15 pounds, and then 75 degrees on your torque yield. And your second series is the same 15 pounds, and then, but it's 18 or 85 degrees on your torque. So that's one thing. Another thing is, don't believe everything Google tells you, because, and I've seen this in more than one place, Google will tell you that rod caps on the Gen 3 LS are symmetrical, meaning that you can turn this rod cap any way that you want to turn it, this way or this way. And I am here to tell you that is dead wrong. These caps are just like your old school caps. They're what's called a breakaway cap. And what that means is, from the factory, when these things are made, that the big end is all one piece. And then they're scored, and then this cap is literally broke, snapped off. All right, so that means that your snap marks, your brake marks on each side are matching. So hopefully this thing will focus and I'll show you. If you will notice, that line is not straight. Where it's broke is not a straight line. And when you put this together, you'll notice that line lines up. Now, if you were to take that cap and flip it around backwards, that's what it would look like. All right. So Google, don't tell me that these caps are symmetrical. If I flip that around backwards, see how big that gap is? If it'll focus. Nothing about that lines up. All right, screw that in a little bit. Another thing, if you'll look at the top of this piston, you'll see a cross, right? One side is short, the other side is long. The long part matches the direction of your rod. So that tells you whether it goes in just by looking at the piston this way or this way, right? Obviously, that's where your pin is at. If you'll look at the end of your cap, you'll see this line that goes up this way and a matching line on that side. This line points at the front of the engine. So that's how you know not only how your cap goes on your rod, but also what direction that rod goes into the motor. Sometimes on some engines, you will have like a chamfer right here where it rides up on part of the crank that will give you an identifier. These do not, but you have those lines right on top. So that'll help you out. That'll get you going anyway. All right, I'm gonna get this thing lubed up and we'll get ready to slam this thing in. All right, let's go ahead and lube our bearing. Just like so. Let's put a little lube in our cylinder. Just like so. We got our dot turned towards the front of the engine. That dot. So let's go ahead and knock this thing in here. Now, I absolutely hate this type of ring compressor, but I do not have the right size, so this is gonna have to do. It just is what it is. All right. Let's find our rod in so we don't beat her crank up. Turned, there we go. I was fixing to say we're turned. All right. She are home. All right, I got you flipped back up right. Put a little bit of oil on this rod cap bearing. Just like so. We'll make sure that we're turning the right direction. Boy, it's been a long time. I don't get to mechanic that often here at the house. I think I've mentioned it before. I'm an industrial mechanic by trade, and a lot of that knowledge does transfer. But I am in no way an engine builder. But I do know my way around a toolbox pretty good. And I'll tell you, that's a two-edged sword. Any of you mechanics that know what I'm talking about, leave that in the comments. We got our torque wrench set to 15 pounds. So let's go ahead and get the right size socket first. What is that, 7/16? I could have swore that I already had 7/16 out here. I guess not. We'll just use this one till we find the other one. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all the rest of these done. I'll torque all of them to 15 pounds initially, and then we'll go back and put our yield on there. If I find anything weird or strange, I'll come and get you. So I was over here cleaning these other pistons, and it dawned on me when I put that piston in, I didn't mention anything about rotating the rings and off-centering the gaps in the rings and all that stuff. And the truth is, yeah, I mean, that's good practice. And I did do that. But if your rings are operating the way your rings are supposed to operate, they sit in there and turn. The whole time that vehicle is running, those rings are sitting in there turning. So I guess the point I'm making is at any time really that engine is running, those ring gaps can line up and then misalign and then come back around and line up and misalign. They're going to do that. That's just the way it's designed to operate. So yeah, all your instructions are going to tell you when you put new rings on to rotate your rings and offset the gaps and stuff like that. But you know, like I said, they rotate, so you know, it is what it is. At some point, them things are going to line up. This is exactly why I wanted to pull this motor apart. All three of these rings were completely stopped up, locked up with carbon and oil sludge and crap like that, and I have yet to get that top compression ring to come loose. And that would have been a sad deal. We would have been burning oil, a loss in power. So I've been going around this thing just tapping, hoping to get that thing broke loose. You can see, I think you can see the ring gap right there. It's about as close as it's going to get. And I have yet to be able to get this thing to move. All right, I do not suggest at all you do this, but I have been pounding on this thing for about 30 minutes. We finally got it to come loose a little bit. And now I just need to chase that around till I get it all the way loose. And I bet that some of y'all are thinking I've lost my mind. He might be right. You might just be right. See all that carbon come squishing out of there? There it goes. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the end of that and scrape down in there to scrape that carbon out. And it won't be long, this thing will be spinning like a brand new one. Man, fellers, And fillets. That took a minute. Down to the last one. We got this thing reamed out. Let's do our last measurement here. See what we got. $3,780. All right, let's go the other way. So let's say 3,780. That is dead on the money. So now that we got all of our rods and pistons in, we are going to torque these things up. Now I mentioned earlier in the video that these first series rod bolts torqued to 15 pounds and then what was it, 75 degrees. I do not have a dial, so a dial wrench. So we're going to torque them to 53, which is about the same. So we'll get these knocked out. All right, that will do it. Let's go ahead and put our windage tray on And you can't really put it on wrong because of the way that it is. So rear, meaning rear of vehicle. Yeah, I know I skipped that one. We'll get to that at a later date. Easy with the paint, man. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this rear main seal housing and the rear block cover, whatever you want to call it. Pull it out, go ahead and replace the rear main seal in it because it's right here all in our teeth. You know, I like these one-piece rear main seals because they seem to seal better all around better than the two-piece on the old small blocks back before the Vortex switched to one piece. Only problem with one piece rear main seal is when it leaks, you got to pull the transmission to change it. And on two piece, if you're good, you can put a rear main seal in just by pulling the oil pan. This would be a whole lot easier if this thing wasn't on an engine stand. Well, for Pete's sake, how long are these bolts? They hold the main caps on, I guess. For Pete's sake. Let's make an attempt at getting this out of here. Mm-hmm. There it goes. I thought you might see it my way. So we got our new seal. We're gonna see if we can get this thing in here without destroying it. Should I? My question is, should I put some silicone around that? Should I? I don't know. I don't even know if I have any. What is this? Yep, that'll work. I believe that I will, just because it just sort of makes sense to me. It's awfully cheap insurance. Anywho, I don't know that you need to. But it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Now, see, I feel a whole lot better about that. All right. Seems pretty good to me. I think it needs to go on down. I think. 'Cause this definitely got room to. What can we use? Most likely, there is a tool for this, but I don't have it. Oh, there we go. See, that's more better. We'll put a little bit of Earl just to help this seal out so it don't slides on excuse me, slides on easier and we don't start up dry. Now if that gasket will just stay right there, and I'll be happy. Just like so. That'll work. Why didn't you tell me to do it that way to start with? Good grief. Tell you what, I can't hardly find good help. I didn't want that one anyway. All right. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but these things don't have lineup dowels. So, we got to get them super flush with the oil pan surface. Hey, did I mention that this would be a whole lot easier if this engine stand went in the way? I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Got it. I know you could do it. I know, I heard you. Come on, you can do it. I know I can do it. I'm just... Well, if you can do it, do it. I'm trying to do it. Got it. And what we need to do is make sure that this surface is level with the oil pan surface. So I'm gonna push it high, and then I'm gonna push it down with this and tighten it up. What'd you do with my 10 millimeter? I don't know. You're the last one that had it. No, you're the last one that had it. I'll just use this one. just like so. Right there. Beautiful. Hey, while I'm torquing these things down, why don't y'all just right down yonder and on that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, that way you're notified. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs up twice. Alright, fellers and fellettes, I believe that's gonna do it. I'm wore out, tired. We did get everything done we wanted to get done. I'm very stoked about that. Turned out really good. All the measurements were good. Really happy about that. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit your bell notification. That way you're notified every time I release new content. Till next time, y'all go do some work. This place is a disaster. Nobody ever teach you to put your tools up? It'll take me 3 weeks to put this up.